Hey guys, welcome back to episode 9 of The Real Deal James Neal. And today I have game 20 of the regular season for you against the Carolina Hurricanes. And it's a real tight one. So you're going to want to watch to the end. Some big power play minutes as well, which we may struggle with the power play this game actually. Usually it's one of our stronger points with me hogging the puck and going for short side goals basically. But the main focus of today is talking about the trade of Neal-Seguin to the Dallas Stars in return for Loui Eriksson, and also a bunch of other players involved as well. It's a 7-player trade, it worked out as. So along with Neal-Seguin, Boston also sent Rich Peverley and a young defenseman called Ryan Button to the Stars. And in return, the main piece for Boston in return was Loui Eriksson, along with 3 other prospects, one of whom I actually know quite well, Joe Morrow, a first-round pick by Pittsburgh a few years ago, who was traded to the Dallas Stars in the Brendan Morrow trade. I know, a bit confusing, a lot of Morrows, no relation as well. Boston also gets Riley Smith and Matt Fraser as well. So a 7-player trade, the 2 focal points, Seguin and Loui Eriksson. Now, I'm not quite sure why they traded so many players. I would imagine that a deal could have been done for Eriksson and Seguin involving draft picks, so it's obvious that you would imagine that Boston likes a few of these prospects if they get him back. Now, Joe Morrow is an interesting one because he was very highly rated at Pittsburgh when he arrived, and in his first year after being drafted, he came very close to making the opening night roster. But they didn't want to take the risk. They sent him back down to the CHL to his team, the Portland Winterhawks. Now, I don't know how much of common knowledge it is that he came close to making the team. I remember reading it on the Pens website. I think it was an interview with Dan Bylsma that said about how good of a player he was, how he came close to making the team, and that basically it would have been a risk to chuck him in his first season. He was the 28th overall pick. So it wasn't as if he was expected to do anything good first year. And in the end he didn't make the team. But then it all kind of went downhill from there for Joe Morrow. His defensive abilities seemed to fall apart. He still has a great shot, but defensively he is a liability. Playing for Wilkes-Barre, he just, I don't know whether the AHL just wasn't suited to his style, or whether he just couldn't play in. The Penguins have a certain style that they like to play with their D-men, and that's why it was a little bit of a surprise that they went after Douglas Murray at the trade deadline, because he doesn't play that exact same way that Dan Bylsma likes his defensemen to play. What's also interesting, I think, is that Morrow has now been traded to his 3rd NHL team without playing an NHL game. He didn't get a shot with the Stars at the end of the season. He went down to the Texas Stars, having played 9 games there. And I know it's a new GM now and it's a new system that they're trying to use. But does it say that they don't like him there? They're willing to move him only, what, 4 months after acquiring him as the focal point for Brendan Morrow, their captain, and really not necessarily a legend of their team, but someone who they obviously respect and value very highly. I think what Boston get with Joe Morrow is a player who, if they can turn his defensive game around, can be a fantastic player in the NHL and has the potential to be a top 4 D-man, but he also has the potential to never play an NHL game. I think. Unless he turns around that defensive side of his game. Unless they fancy converting him to a winger or something. I don't know whether they'll go Brett Burns on him or something. So the Joe Morrow aspect of this made it interesting for me, him being a ex-Penn and someone who when he played for the Portland Winterhawks was very highly rated. And interestingly enough, he actually played in a pairing with Derek Pouliot, the Penn's 8th overall pick last year. So they were looking to pair them maybe at NHL level, but that never really worked out. So I got a bit sidetracked there talking about Joe Morrow, but let's get back to the main focal pieces of this trade. I won't go into detail about the other youngsters. I don't know enough about them, honestly, to say what they're going to be in the future. I've never seen them play. So, first of all, Rich Peverley, good player, third line centre, solid guy, kills penalties, will work very hard for the team. It's not going to give you a great offensive output, but he'll fit in well as a third line centre there, behind Seguin and, by the looks of it, Sean Hallcroft now as well, who they appear to have picked up in a trade with the Edmonton Oilers. So that brings us on to the two main guys. So let's start off with Louis Eriksson, who, very annoyingly for me, is always mentioned as the most underrated player in the league. Now, if you have been talking about this guy for 3 years, saying he is the most underrated player in the league, he is not underrated. You rate him. Everyone rates him. He's not underrated. Everyone knows about him now. For the past 2 years, everybody has spoken about him. So no longer is he underrated, he is now rated. So I would very much appreciate it if we could drop the Louis Eriksson is underrated thing, which appears to be a trend, let's say, in the NHL and with analysts as well. But that aside, he is a very, very good player. Will add a lot to the Bruins. They needed a winger. It looks like Horton isn't re-signing, although they have cleared up a bit of cap space now with Seguin going. So I doubt he'll be back though with them. You'd imagine he'll be paired with Patrice Bergeron and Brad Marchand as a top line there. All three guys very good defensively. You would back them to get 60-65 points each, and probably have a plus minus of about plus 30 at the end of the season. That may not happen, but that's what I imagine would be the case. Now, briefly about Tyler Seguin, I like the move for him. I think it's good for him to get out of Boston at the moment. He is going to be that Mike Richards, Jeff Carter kind of figure in the league where, oh, he parties too much, he does this, he does that. Kind of like the Patrick Kane thing we had a few years ago. But to be honest, as soon as he settles down, finds a nice girl, it will go away. And Dallas could be a great place for him to go. He'll get to play at centre, where he obviously wants to play and it is his best position. And also, people are going to stop talking about the Phil Kessel trade to him as well. So I think it's a great move for Seguin. I really hope he does well. I really like the guy. I think he's a fantastic player. And he's someone that we should be looking out for and could be a point-of-game player out there in Dallas. So that's it for today, guys. Next game will be the Boston game. Game 21, I believe, of the season. And yeah, I'll be talking about free agency. So I shall see you in the next video.